Monday Health Minutes, sponsored by Valley Health.
Hi, I'm Melanie Shafer. Welcome to Monday Health Minutes with Valley Health. Summer is here and a lot of folks are chasing that golden tan. So is there a safe way to get tan? And what about the excessive sun exposure? How serious is that? We're talking with family nurse practitioner Montana Wamsley about that today. He's from Valley Health, Apple Grove. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. This is great information because everybody wants that sun-kissed look. So let's start it off with UV rays and the different types of sun rays.
Okay. Yeah, so there's three main types, UVA, UVB, and then UVC. UVA and B cause damage to the skin if exposure exceeds a certain length. UVC is usually absorbed in the atmosphere, so we don't have a lot of exposure to that down here on Earth.
So when you're talking about sun exposure and just walking out there, is there a safe level to do it? Is that base tan okay?
Yeah, so when it comes to the sun's not all bad. The sun provides vitamin D to us. We can absorb that through our skin, and that's a good vitamin to have. However, the sun can cause damage, so you want to limit the amount of exposure you have, especially unprotected exposure, namely without sunblock or sunscreen.
Okay, so what kind of exposure are we looking at? Are there better hours of the day to head out there? I know everybody likes to think of their beach trip and getting out there and enjoying, the ocean and outdoors gardening and things like that and ball field games. Is there a safe time of day to do that? And then when do we need to really layer up a sunscreen?
So I generally recommend patients to use like the UV index. It's an index that ranges from about 1 to 11. This just gives us an idea of how likely it is to get exposed to the sun in terms of a damaging amount, and then how easily you can burn. So generally anything above 3 on that scale, you want to use some sort of protection. So that could be sunblock, a hat, umbrella, a shirt, something to kind of limit that exposure.
Okay, and let's talk sunscreen. I mean, what's the safe number? I mean, back in the day it was like 5, 10, and now the numbers have climbed as what they think is really going to keep you safe.
Yeah, I recommend SPF of 30 at least. Sunscreen that will block both UVA and UVB at the same time. And generally we want to apply that about 15 to 30 minutes before we go out and are exposed to the sun, and reapply around every 2 hours or so.
All right, so if you're showing up at the beach rubbing the sunscreen on, you're a little late.
You're a little bit late, yes.
All right, you need to do it preemptively. Let's talk about base tan. A lot of folks believe in the base tan so they don't get sunburned, but does that mean damage-free?
Yeah, so it's not damage-free. Anytime you get a base tan or a sunburn, it's a reaction from the UV radiation occurring on your skin. So what the skin does, it gets damaged and it creates more melanin production, which creates a barrier to protect your skin from further radiation. The same thing is used with sunscreen. It's a barrier that protects the radiation from your skin. So while it's not 100% risk-free getting that base tan, it can be one method, maybe not the most ideal method, but one method to prevent worsening damage.
Okay, so what is a better alternative than maybe laying out on the beach? Or are tanning beds better, or self-tanners better? What's the recommendation?
So I would recommend sunblock, like we talked about. However, you mentioned the self-tanners and the tanning beds. Tanning beds also are a source of UV radiation. So UV radiation is the number one cause of melanoma.
Which is skin cancer.
Which is skin cancer, yes. Now, other tanning products, like sunless tanning products, like sprays and lotions, those also have some risk with them, but the risk is much lower when it comes to skin cancer. So those would be a better option if you're looking to kind of have that sun-tanned look.
Yeah, a lot of folks are looking at that. And very quickly, when you're talking about skin damage and skin cancer, what are the signs that you should look for that you need to go see a physician?
Okay, so there's different types of skin cancer, so there's different types of signs. One acronym I like to use is the ABCDE acronym. It stands for asymmetric, border irregularity, color, diameter bigger than 6 millimeters, and then evolving, so the lesion maybe is changing throughout time.
All right, things that we can look for and protect ourselves as we head on into these summer months. Montana, thank you so much for your advice. We sure appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for checking in on Monday Health Minutes.